Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn about the SQL transformation. As we have learned that SQL transformation is majorly a transformation which is used to make a call on the RDBMS system to execute any kind of SQL statement. So it can run in a query mode where you can execute a single query, or this using this transformation you can call it in a script mode where you can make calls to a set of queries as well. So for that, as we had discussed, we are going to take an example where my input file will look something like this. So let me open a Excel sheet which I'm going to use as my source file. So this is the source file I'm going to use. So it's an example from a retail industry where each product has multiple price code or a product code, and for that every product code for a product ID, it has a unit price and a package price. So this is in this example I have taken product ID 100, 200 and 300. All these three product has three price code, for price code M, price code W and price code R, and each price code of a product ID has its own unit price and the package price. So this is the input which I would like to use. Sorry. And my target is something like this. So let me open my target database. So you can just give me a moment. So this is my connection, and I already have a table created with name called trg underscore prod cost underscore new. So this is the table I have. It has fields like prod ID, M unit price, M package price, W unit price, W package price, and R unit price, R package price. So I want in this table for each product ID. So again, product ID is going to be a unique field in this, and it will have the values for M, W and R unit price as well as package price as the columns over here. So right now, if I do a select star from this table, so you can see that I already have the table created, and three records for product ID 100, 200 and 300 already populated, but all the unit and package price corresponding to each price code is at this point of time it is 0. So I would like to update this table using the values of this input which I have shown earlier on the CSV file. So let's keep this aside. So this is my input file. So let me keep this both aside. Let me log into my Informatica designer. I'm going to connect to my repository for my demo. Okay, so in this source, I have already pulled in this broadcast port. So how I did that? So let me show this again to you. So sorry. So let me open source, say import from file. I have to go to the generate source file folder where I have this file already created. So I clicked on OK. If you see, I have the first row which is supposed to be the column header. So I cannot use it from the from the row number 1, because it will start taking this as one of the input row. So what I'm going to do here is import field name from the first line. So I'm instructing this that the first line treat this as the field names. So automatically this start import at row, it will become number 2. So if I select this, you can see it is number 2, and all the field names will be picked based on the first row. Here, since it's a CSV file, I'm keeping the delimiter as comma only. Here you can see that all the field names are pre-populated based on the first row of the CSV file. Click on finish. So it's saying that it's already checked in, and I can do something like maybe underscore new 1. So this is my input file which I have created. The table which I have shown you on SQL Plus, this table I have already imported in my target designer. So this is the table which I have already pulled in. So you can see this table is already there as one of the Oracle table under the targets pseudo folder. On mapping, I'm going to create a new mapping. So let me name this as m underscore SQL transformation example. It's saying me some, it's already there. It's already there. Let me name this as SQL transformation new example. On this, I'm going to pull the source which I have just now created. So this is my source definition, and along with that I get a source qualifier. I also have created this target, so let me pull this target as well. Okay, so far so good. We have my source and the target already created. Now I'm going to create the first transformation. I'm going to create it as an expression transformation, because at this point I have to first know, based on the price code, what will be the column name which I need to make the update. So here, if you want, you can see what the column names are. It is m unit underscore price or m package underscore price. So this column name I can get based on some of the expressions. So let me use an expression transformation here. exp underscore, let me name this as broadcast condition. On this expression transformation, I am going to pull all the ports which are coming from source qualifier, and apart from these input ports, I am going to add 2 new ports to it. I'm going to call this as O underscore unit price and O underscore package price. Both I'm going to keep it as string only, because this will be the value of my column name. These 2 will be the input ports. I'm not going to use them as input, so I'm unchecking that. On the expression, I'm going to use the expression using if statement. So if I'm instructing this as if in my price code is equal to m, then I will return it as m unit underscore price. So this is the actual value of my column name here. You can see here. And if it is not M, then the second argument here I can use another if condition. And on this if condition, I can mention something as price code equal to, I can check for W. If it is W, then I'm going to use, or I'm going to send W unit underscore price. If it is not both, then I'm going to assume this as R unit price. So this is the expression I'm going to use. Validate, it's all done. Similar expression I will use for the package price as well. So I can use the same thing, and against unit I can use the package price. So again, this is the name of the column on my target. W package price, and the last one is R package price. Validate, say OK. So based on this expression transformation, I know what is going to be the column name which I need to update. So now I'm going I'm going to create a SQL transformation here. Select SQL, name something. So I'm giving the name as SQL with the as the prefix, because that's the standard practice is. So I'm giving the name as broadcast update. Here, as we were talking earlier, it can be executed with some certain configurations. So the first configuration is the mode in which you are going to use it. So if by default you are selecting query mode, that means you are going to instruct the SQL transformation what SQL query you want to execute. And if you want to run it in the script mode, you can you can specify a script which will actually hold the SQL queries. The second configuration is the DB type, where all these DB where you can connect your SQL transformation is. So this is a very extensive list which can connect to any of the RDBMS system where you can use this SQL transformation. The third configuration is whether you want the SQL transformation to connect to a database using a static connection object. That means whenever any row comes, all the rows will refer using this static connection and will make a call to that RDBMS system either via the query mode or via the script mode. If you are selecting dynamic connection, that means for each row, you are going to pass the connection object along with the row. So for that, you can either use connection object or the full connections information. Right now, I'm going to use the static connection. This particular transformation can be used in passive as well as active mode. So by default, if this is not checked in, that means it's going to run in the active mode. I'm keeping it as it is. Click on OK. So this SQL transformation got created. So you can see that this SQL transformation by default comes with a SQL output port called SQL error. So what I'm right now doing is I'm passing all the ports from my expression transformation to the SQL transformation. So it has all these inputs. Along with that, it has all the outputs as well, suffixed with underscore output. So in output, apart from the ports which came as an input port, it has another output port, that is the SQL error, which is a default port for this transformation. Now, if you all can judge that this particular transformation has all the ports, input and output port, which are already predefined uh, based on the ports which are coming into this particular transformation. So I'm not going to change any of them. Properties and SQL settings, I'm keeping it as it is. On SQL port, this is the place where you have to you are supposed to give the SQL query. So when you click on this particular button, it opens the SQL editor. Here you can actually write the SQL statement which you would like to execute on the target to update all these columns. So I'm writing the SQL statement here, update. My table name is this, and I have to set, ideally I am supposed to set the values for unit price and package price based on the price code. So for that reason, if you can see, there is something called string substitution and parameter binding. So as a string substitution, I'm already getting the value of the column which I need to update using these two ports. So I'm going to update the unit price with the value as parameter binding. So for unit price, I'm going to update it using unit price. So you can see whenever I'm using a string substitution, it is surrounding my variable using a tilde operator, and whenever I'm using a parameter binding, it is surrounding my port with a question mark operator. That's how this particular update statement need to be read. I also have to update the package price using the parameter binding for package price, where now here I have to say that what is my in my target, what is my primary key. So that is a product underscore ID. So let me give this as prod underscore ID equal to, I can use this parameter binding here, and then there will be a semicolon. So now, as you have seen in any other editor, or rather expression editor, it has a compiler which can validate your statement, but in case of SQL editor, there is no compiler. So always remember that you have to mention this SQL statement correctly here. Click OK, apply. Here, always remember there is a check. So I'm not doing that change right now. I want you to understand, if I do right now, these all data types, product ID, product code, unit price, so these are decimals. So these are not the same data type which a database will understand. So what if I don't change this, then I'm going to get an error on the database layer. So as of now, I'm not changing. So I'm anticipating I will get an error. So I'm clicking on OK. Now, if you have noticed within this flow, on this transformation, I'm anyway going and updating the database. So that means my transformations task is all done by this transformation. Sorry. So then why I need this target definition altogether? So if I don't have this, then I'm going to get this error saying that this mapping is invalid. To make this as a valid mapping, I will have to create a filter transformation over here. So on this filter transformation, as of now, let me push this output stream, and I can pass this output stream to one of the port just to make sure the mapping is complete. Now you can see this is a valid mapping. but I don't want to actually flow the data from this particular thing. So what I can do here is on this filter transformation, come to the properties and make the filter condition as false. That means I am explicitly instructing my mapping that once the update is done by the SQL transformation, uh, there will not be anything after that. So this is just a dummy uh, transformation to make my mapping complete. Now just save this, and now I'm going on workflow manager. Let me quickly create a workflow for my mapping. I'm going to create a task for that, session task. Selecting the mapping which I have created now, and I'm going to link them together. On this, I am right now giving the value for $target because $source is not required because my source is a flat file as of now. On this mapping, you can see that it's a file reader, so no connection is required, but my source file is residing at this particular location. So I should change the source file directory to this. This is the same file which I have in my source file directory. So no change for this. On target, I will use the connection variable. Let's keep this bulk because anyway I'm not going to hit this target definition because of the filter transformation having condition as false. On SQL transformation, again, this need to connect to a database. So if I don't mention any connection type, I'm going to get an error. So let's say that I forgot to add a connection object and I said apply, okay, saved it. And when I execute this transformation, or rather when I execute this mapping, it will fail. And if I go and analyze why the reason of failure, it is clearly saying that failed to get the connection. So that means because I have not given any connection object to my SQL transformation, it failed. So to correct that, I will have to come on this task, and on this SQL, I have to give a relational connection object. So let me give the value for target, say apply, okay, save this. Now if I re-execute this, it again failed. Let me see why the reason is. Okay, so now I am getting a new error. It is trying to tell me that while opening the file for reading the input, that is the prod.cost.csv file, operating system gave me an error and it is saying the process cannot be accessed because it is being used by another process. So this is because this particular file is already opened on my system and Informatica is assuming that some operation is being performed on the input file. So for that reason, I will have to close this particular file. And now let me rerun this again. Okay, so now it is saying succeeded, but I'm pretty sure that the updates have not been made. You can go on this and again fire the same command. You can see that all the values are still 0. So the reason is, if you go here, you can see there is an error called native type for column not found, and this error is coming for all the columns. So as I was telling you earlier, on this SQL transformation, when you are making the update on the database, all these ports, the data type of this are decimal, string, decimal, or something like that, and these data types are not accepted by the database. So for that, you have to change the native type for this. So for product ID, it has to be a number whenever it is dealt uh, within the database. But for me, this particular value on my database is varchar2, so I will keep this as varchar2 here. Price code, it is actually again a varchar. Anyway, this is not required uh, on my database layer. That should be fine. Ideally, I can make this as number as well, but that's fine. I'm keeping it as varchar. Unit price, I'm keeping it as number. This I'm going to keep it as varchar2 because this is the unit price, the column name actually, and the same for package price. Now say apply. Save this transformation. Refresh the task. Save this again and rerun the workflow. Now if I go on the session log, okay, so now I am getting some different error, fatal error, database driver error, and it is saying me that execute, and I'm pretty and based on that you can see the target tables are not updated again, so all the target rows are not updated. So what I'm going to do here is I'm on this designer, on this mapping designer SQL port. Let me keep this product type as number. Let me save this again and let me re-execute this again. Still I'm getting the issue. So there is a problem. So I think it is clearly telling me that the identifier, I think I missed some, I did a typo. Here you can see that M unit price, I am not able to see the PRICE value here. So let me cross check on the transformation on port. Okay, so here I am using a variable. So this value is coming from the expression transformation. So let me see this expression transformation. Here the value is correct, but on the log, I can see that it is saying set M unit price, whatever price value, I'm not able to see E over here. So I think the unit price, so on this designer, I can see it's okay. So I think there is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you see, I am getting the value till PRIC. I'm missing the E. So I'm pretty sure the problem is because the data type here, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it is more than, so this is the 11th character. But if you see on my let me cancel this. So on my output port, the precision value is 10, which is less than the, so that's the reason the last character is getting truncated. So let me make it as 12. Apply this. So now this value I need to also get it here on the SQL transformation. And if I see on this port, it is also again 10. So this is an incorrect value. So for that reason, let me do recreate this transformation once again. So I'm keeping this copied with me, and I'm going to get rid of this, and let me create the transformation again. I'm keeping this all configuration by the default one to keep it as a static connection object, and with the query type as query mode. Now on this, if you see, now the ports for this is now 12. So on this SQL editor, let me paste what I have copied from there, and on this I have to give the values for native characters. So I have given the values for all native characters. Say apply, save this. I have to make the connection. So let me connect it and save this. Again, come to the workflow, refresh the mapping. On this mapping, I have changed this SQL. So I have to again check for this connection object. Apply. I hope all my other properties, yes, all other properties are all intact. Say OK, save this. Now again, re-execute the workflow. Cool. So now the workflow is saying succeeded, but let me confirm using the session log. So reading is all done. Here, writer run completed without any error. So I'm assuming that, but there is some error happened because of which the rows are not updated, and I can confirm this on this table. So here you can see uh, all my data is updated now. The reason of showing the zero updated because on my designer, if you remember, I have added the filter condition as false. So on this path, it is not showing me anything updated, but internally this SQL transformation has gone and updated the table using the SQL command. So that's the reason I can see on this that all the values are populated based on the values of my input file. So if I want to cross check that, I can quickly do that. So for product ID 100, M unit price is going to be 100, M package price is 110, W unit price is 120, W package price is 200, 130, and 300. So all the data are correctly updated, and that's how we are done with the SQL transformation. Hope this transformation is clear to you. If you have any question, feel free to put a comment on that. link where I can revert to you with the answers. Hope this is useful. Thank you, everyone.